All right, today I'm back on the 1997 Nissan Altima, the cruise control problem. I bought a used cruise control unit, or a control module, brain, whatever you want to call it. I bought one on eBay. The guy said it did come out of a working car with working cruise control. I installed it and it didn't fix our problem. But I was able to research and figure out things just from a lot of web searching. Eventually I found some answers. The control module is not going to be the problem, based on the symptoms. Apparently the old Nissans like this have a built-in self-test for the cruise control, and the way to activate it is you hold one of the buttons down on the cruise control controls cruise control controls. Hold that button down, turn the cruise control on, and then look at the flashing sequence on the cruise light. When you do it on this car, this is the new module. The old module did the exact same thing though. So I'm going to start the car, turn the air conditioner off. So I'm going to hold down one of these buttons. I'm going to try to hold the phone at the same time. Okay, and now I'm going to turn the cruise control on. The cruise control turns on over here. All right, so I'm going to turn it on. I wasn't pushing it down. Hold on. Okay, I've got it down now. Well, hell. Let's see. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't have it off. There. See that light flashing? That light's flashing constantly. That tells us that there is an input problem. So like one of these switches is stuck shut, or one of the controls, like the on-off button or the brake pedal. Well, I know the on-off button's not stuck because I can turn it off and on, and that works. I know it's not these because when it's flashing and I push the buttons, the sequence, the flashing lights change, they alter, so none of these are stuck. It has to be the brake pedal. So I'm going to take all this stuff off underneath here again so I can get to the brake pedal switch, and see if I can identify if it's bad or if there's a wire problem or something. So that's what I'm doing today. I've got the brake light switch unplugged. It looks like there is two wires going to it, so one for the brake, one for the cruise control, or it's brake and ground. I'm not sure. So let's see what happens with the cruise control now when we do the test. So I'm going to hold down a button. I'm going to turn it on. Okay, so it does the same thing, but is that correct behavior for the brake switch being unplugged? I don't know. I need to take the brake switch out and do some tests on it and see if it seems reasonable. I'll be back. Okay. I was under there trying to remove the brake switch, and then I noticed there was a second switch. It was obscured by the steering column, but it is actuated by the brake pedal as well. So now let's try our test. I hold the cancel button, turn on the power to the cruise control. Still blinking. Okay, still blinking, but is that correct behavior? Is the brake switch supposed to be shorted for cruise control? In other words, is it normally closed? Think about that. I don't know. I'll have to look at the schematics and see if it says something. I'll be back. Let me see if I can find something in the schematic. See, we bought a manual at Half Price Book. It doesn't tell you anything, but it does supply you a schematic. Let me look at the schematic. I'll be back. All right, so here's the book that I bought at Half Price Book. It was $5. And it's very old. It's been used a lot. So the schematic for the cruise control. Now, first of all, the section on cruise control only discusses general operation. It doesn't discuss self-test or, anything specific on diagnosing it. The only thing useful in this book is the schematics. So I believe this schematic here is the cruise control. Sunshine's messing with us. Here's the cruise control schematic. So we've got switches Apparently in the shifter part for the transmission, we've got a variable speed control. Now that one, if there's a separate one of those, then that could be it, but I think it's shared with the speedometer, and the speedometer works. Oh yeah, you can see here it is. See, there's a speedometer there. So it's not going to be that. A speedometer is working. Automatic transmission control unit. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's related to the cruise control. Dadgummit, I can't get that to cooperate. We got a park neutral switch. If that was bad, I would think the car wouldn't start, maybe. ASCD, that's automatic speed control. Cancel switch, that's in the steering wheel. I don't have a clutch on this because it's not a manual, so that's not going to be it. Cancel button, this button up here is in the steering wheel, and these are checking out because I can see a change in the light when it flashes. Automatic speed control main switch. Okay, that's the on-off switch. That light comes on when I turn it on, or I'm sorry, this light comes on when I turn it on. Backlit, that's what that light bulb is. That's backlit for nighttime, so you can see what it is in the dark. Steering switch. Okay, cancel, resume. Okay, so those are in the steering wheel. So what the heck are these then? Let's see. Where were those things? Yeah, on brake pedal. Ah, okay. So on the brake pedal, we've got the automatic transmission. So this switch here is what we're trying to figure out. So it's the one with the green red or green orange. I need to get on there and look at that again. It has to go through the ASCD hold relay. Maybe that's bad. I didn't think about that, or I didn't realize that, I should say. There's also an inhibitor relay. So if either one of those is bad, the path for that switch doesn't get connected. Inhibitor, and that's automatic transmission, and that's on any car. So those two relays could be the problem, either one of those. And okay, this is manual transmission. So this whole path here I don't even have to worry about. Let's see, this is the clock springs. We know they're good because these switches respond. Stop lamp switch. Okay, so that's a different brake switch, isn't it? Under there. And it just goes to, well, it goes to the control unit too. That doesn't, see, this block down at the bottom is labeled as automatic speed control unit. So that must be the silver box that I've replaced, this block here. And this is the controls. This isn't the problem because we're not getting that far. We're getting a flashing light in the dash. So that would never turn on. So it's got to be something above. But what is it? You know, I'm wondering about these relays because I've unplugged the two switches, right? There's that brake light switch that goes into the control unit. And then, where's the other? ASCD cancel switch. That's the one I thought was bad. I'm so confused. Why would this have any impact? I don't understand why both of those are there. ASCD. So, I mean, yeah, when you hit the brake, it cancels. But what the hell? What's this? Is that just for the lamp? For the brake lights? And why is it going into the control unit? So if either one of those is bad, well, we know the lights work. I don't know. I mean, see, that's the problem with these schematics. It doesn't really tell you what's going on. I mean, it all depends on how this control module is programmed, I suppose. Well, anyway, this is normally closed. That one's normally open. Normally closed. So if I unplug the connector, then they're both open, right? Because I'm taking those switches completely out of the equation, and the light is still flashing. So that tells me one of these has to be made. So it's this one. This one here has to be made. Green, red, orange, green, orange, green, red, green, orange. All right, let me think about it. So inside the engine compartment, there's a set of relays in between the engine and the battery, and they're right there. This is the cover for it. It says here the automatic speed control device is this relay here. I've already loosened it so it'll come right out. You have to use a screwdriver. You have to stick a screwdriver in that slot and push down while you pull up on that, and it comes out. So I'm going to take that to the bench and see if I can test it and see if it's good. All right, got the relay hooked up to 12 volts power here. The connections between the contacts are between these 2 points here and these 2 points here. So when I measure between these two, I get no path. So these are open right now without power applied. With power applied, they do both engage. They do both short. So this relay should be good. Let me go ahead and turn it on. You might hear it click. Okay, did you hear that click? So the relay is energized, so I should be able to conduct between those two. Well, tough to do with one hand, guys. Okay, you heard that? That one's good. And this one's going to be tough. Shoot. Come on. That was the bottom one again. See if I can do it like this. Okay, with the power off, hear the click, get turned off. Now these should not conduct. Not conducting, not conducting. That was, I accidentally touched the two tips of the probes. Okay, so that relay is good, checks out. I still don't know what the inhibitor relay is. That must be the theft control. Let's see if I can find something about that. Okay, so the relay that I'm curious about is this one. It's the inhibitor relay, and it's only on automatic transmissions. Well, it only gets turned on when the transmission is in park or neutral. Any other time, it's off. So I don't think that's going to be the problem. Don't know. I don't think so. Let me put it in neutral. If I do that, well, if I put the brake on, if I start the engine, I put it in neutral, that will at least test to see if that switch, surely that's working though, or there'd be other problems. That would at least see if that would turn that on, and I shouldn't get the flashing light, right? Well, let me try that. I'll put the parking brake on, I'll put this in neutral, and then I'll see if I get the flashing light. Okay, I've got the car in neutral, got the parking brake on. My foot is not on the brake even though they're unplugged. I'll probably have to plug them back in again and test again. So I'm going to hold the cancel button. Put the phone up here. I'm going to hold the cancel button. I'm going to turn the power on. Still flashing. I don't know if that really proves anything though. Let me plug in the brake lights or the two brake switches back in, and I can do the test again. Really don't think that's going to be the problem though, because normally it's not connected. That's usually how those things fail, right? They fail where they're not connected. All right, let me think some more. Well, it just occurred to me I haven't tested the switches underneath the dash, so that's what I'm going to do next. I should have done that first. It's silly I didn't even think about it until now. So I'm going to take my ohm meter, or my continuity checker function on the ohm meter, multimeter, and see if those switches are even working. Maybe one of them's bad, completely bad, or maybe it's out of adjustment. Let me test that and I'll be back with a report. All right, I could not get into where those switches are to check them, so From process of elimination, I think they're good though. One of them has a black plug, and it's directly above the steering column, mounted directly above the steering column. That one controls the brake lights. It's dedicated to the brake lights apparently. So with it unplugged, the brake lights don't work. With it plugged in, it works. So that switch is fine and is adjusted correctly. The other one has a blue plug. Now that one, I took a small piece of wire and I shorted it to simulate a closed switch normally. And I also tested it without that in there, and neither one of those allowed the cruise control to work. So I'm concluding that that switch is not the source of the problem. Yeah, it's getting late in the day now. I'm going to go ahead and put the car back together and be done with it for today, and I got to think about what I'm going to try next. I was really thinking one of those switches was bad, but apparently not. That's it for this video. I don't think it's going to be very helpful for anybody, but I think I've eliminated some stuff. I'm not even sure. Thanks for watching.